Now, I think I buy cheap stuff intentionally when I prep, because I know people are broke and people are poor, and they're like, well, I want to, prep too, but I don't have a budget. So I want to show them good to decent, like cheap stuff that they can buy and go, hey, I'm prepping, right? One they can get is canned beans. That's like $1 or something, you know? And like I showed, like a $1.50, you get like $1.50, you get like two water or two beverage containers, so you can have for water collecting and all that in sort of situation, or have it for prepping just in case. Hey, SSCF, I gotta get out Dodge, so I'm gonna, So yeah, I intentionally want to show people that you can prep with little to no budget of any kind. It doesn't matter if, and here's the thing, and I want to do it because there's so many gear snobs, okay? They're like, oh, don't get that, get this expensive thing right here. And here's the thing. If someone only has $50 for the whole kit, and you're like, you're suggesting a $50 knife, that's all he has, right? Now, I remember watching a video. I don't remember from who. I'll find it. They bought an Ozark Trail or stuff from Walmart to make into a $50 kit, and it was actually really good. Included shelter and all that. Had a container, etc. When it comes, like, here's the thing. I know not everyone can afford that $50 knife, right? And so I go, okay, want a good knife, for survival. If you're gonna do a survival thing, here, like the one Ozark Trail knife I have that I use as a mini saw, that could work for small cutting, small sawing, and it does work. And that's why a lot of times I recommend, pre-made survival kits, because one, you get gear for, not many. And a lot of people are like, I could be cheaper for better. Knowing darn full well you're gonna go home, go get your, items you have already to make the kit, and consider it free. Yeah, that's an upcoming grant. And the whole it's better to make your own. That's if you know what you're doing. For one. For two, it's like, well, if I'm a complete beginner, right? But yeah, I love budget stuff. I love extreme budget stuff because I can get creative with that. Just in case, I need, like, I find like a backpack with two of the mesh things. I could put those two things I just showed in the last video into it. Bam! I have water containers. I can put water in it. Especially, that's actually really good, especially if you're in a city and you have a Silcock key. Yeah. Open it. Open the thing. Pour the water. Have the water in the container. Yeet. Bam! You got good water. I prefer cheap stuff because I want to show people, hey, you can prep, you can make survival kits from cheap stuff. And yeah, now I bought a $41 knife, $41 buck knife, the Trekker XLT, Cause for me personally, because I wanted something that I could have. That was, if I had only that, I know I will be, like, oh no, was a, whatever, right? Yes, it's a mid-range. Mid-range, I think, is like 40, $50, like, or 40 to like $100 for gear, snobs. But yeah. And by the way, I was surprised it had serrations. And I like that because I can saw a little bit. I can use it for if I had to, if I was off in the woods. And by the way, that's honestly a hiking knife for me. Because for the serrations, I can go, okay, I need to, saw this little limb to put onto the fire pile, right? So yeah, you can literally do this with that, little dollar knife I showed you from Walmart. Which I should have got like 3 of those. So it was like $1 or something. I mean, they're good for small camp tasks of sawing, branches, like little branches, like I say small to medium. Just so you can have fire tender, worth of fire. So, like, would I recommend, like, if you're definitely a beginner, right, to get expensive stuff? No. Because one, you may not like it. So, like, say you get a, $10, $15 knife, and you're like, I don't like bushcraft, or blah, blah, blah. You're not out by much, right? You pretty much got that $10, $15 in, like an hour of working, pretty much. If we're going on, $15 an hour. Like $10, $15 an hour. But yeah, I want to show people you can prep with the smallest amount of money possible. Heck, I bought a blue cup, a travel mug, from the same dollar aisle. So I was like, I need a coffee cup. I need a bigger coffee cup that I can take with me. Now, I like cheap stuff. Let's just get real here. I like cheap stuff. I'm not cheap. I just like prepping and having cheap stuff as gear because you're in a survival situation, right? You don't need to be, expensive and have it break and go, oh God, if it breaks, it's $1 and it breaks, it's like, okay, it was only $1, right? For me, I love cheap. I love cheap when it comes to prepping, survival, etc. Because guess what? If you're going only for 3 days, it's like, why not have cheap stuff? Right? Now, I will recommend, or will say, if you're poor, broke, you can get the cheap stuff easily. And there's nothing wrong with it at all. Because you have gear. You're prepping. Right? Seriously, you have gear for survival and for prepping. And you're happy. You're like, hey, I'm prepping. I'm doing survival. I guess also. And that's why we love. I love it. So I'm going to keep on buying cheap stuff for people who cannot afford the good stuff. Right? Because I've always preferred cheaper stuff. Same thing. It's the same thing. Like, some of the stuff that you get that's like, I think the buck knife, or like, say you get, okay, here's the thing. For example, for a couple bucks you get, the Wahoo Killer. Great knife. I can't say enough about it. That was like $3-4. So a cheap little knife that, if you can't afford a companion, that's a great alternative. Heck, I made it into a neck knife kit because that's how much I like it. Right? And that proves that you can have a cheap knife like that and it be good. Seriously, I've read reviews all over the internet. No one has a negative thing to say about it. And supposedly Wahoo Killer and all that is actually Moore's China brand. Chinese brand. Because that's what I was seeing in a review. And, yeah, you could literally do cheap. That proves you could do a cheap knife like that, and it'd be great. I have no complaints about it. It's actually helped. Now, I love going to Walmart because, yes, it's budget. But guess what? It's gear. It's cheap gear that I can get, because usually I don't have a lot of money, with me, and I'm like, okay, literally, I can tell you now, you can get Ziploc bags and have it for survival water bags. You don't have to buy these, $1 $, branded bags, What I do is I literally get the one, like, the big one like that, and, like, the smaller ones, and I have them as water bags and all that. Heck, I don't have it with me. The survival kit in the can I have has a small bag in it. Has a small, like, little Ziploc bag in it. Yeah, like, literally, it's about improvising. You can literally, I believe it was, PA Prepper, I think. Let me see. I'm looking this up on YouTube real quick. PA Prepper? Or PA Outdoors? I don't remember. Wait, let me look up PA Outdoors. Let's show okay. Yeah, PA Outdoors. Even he said, get what you can get, or get what you can afford, go out and survive. And I agree with that. And, literally. Now, is there anything I would recommend that you splurge on? A good multi-tool. The one. That's something worth splurging on. Get a Silcock key is worth the price, because you can open, in the city, on the side of buildings, they have a thing that you can open up, have, like, your bottle ready, get the Silcock key, and you get water from that. And honestly, that's worth the price. That's worth splurging a little bit on. I got a 2-pack. I gave one to my mom because I was only needed one anyway. And besides, I could probably buy another one from Amazon. Amazon's good too. Okay. Walmart's good. Target not so much because they're kind of expensive. But yeah, instead of buying a GSI cup, get the Ozark Trail version. It's same thing. Literally, same thing. That's like $4 or $5 right there. And I know people who are gear snobs who have those. No complaints. None. So, point is, I want to buy cheap to show people who have no budget, who are broke, who are poor, they can survive, they can buy survival stuff and stuff for prepping, literally on the cheap. Heck, Patriot Nurse has showed that you can make a medical kit on the cheap from Dollar Tree. And that literally made me subscribe to her. So anyway, peace. And keep it cheap.